I'm John from Game Life Balance US, a proud member of the Gonna Geek Network, just like the one you're listening to now. The opinions expressed are those of each individual. Check out all the other geeky podcasts at GonnaGeekNetwork.com. And get ready, because geekiness commences in 3, 2, 1.
This is it. The part of your week where you get to put your headphones on, relax, and listen to a bunch of geeks geek out about geeky things. They're passionate.
Did you know Magic Mike XXL is actually on the top 25 list of this year's best movie?
They're witty.
He loves him some Katy Perry because she kissed a girl and she liked it.
They're crazy.
I like Nickelback personally, but, I'm the fuddy-duddy who likes episode 1.
And sometimes they leave you wondering, what the f***?
I'm pretty sure that here we were starting the hashtag movement, bring back Slave Ferrell.
Welcome to the GonnaGeek.com podcast.
Hello and welcome to episode 157 of the official GonnaGeek.com podcast. My name is Jondrew, and with me today is Chris Ferrell.
Hey, what's up, guys?
We also have with us Stargate Pioneer.
Cable company routers suck.
And JS is still away this week, still visiting the United States of America. And we have with us a special guest, a first-time guest on the GonnaGeek.com show. And I want to turn it over to Stargate Pioneer to introduce this fine guest. SP, go ahead and tell us all about this guest.
Well, this guest is, I've known him for quite some time, about a couple of decades now. Really likes the geek stuff. Kind of has a smart mouth to him, though, so you got to watch out for that. There might be some bleeps later on. I hope not, because this is a clean podcast, but we'll see. In any event, I introduce Mr. Sandrock.
Hey, guys.
And for those of you not familiar or watching the video side of things, you will see that Sandrock has copied Stargate Pioneer's background and layout almost to a T. In fact, I think he's even using the same microphone that SP used for a very long time. Why is that, Sandrock?
I'm not that creative.
Well played.
No, Sandrock is indeed the offspring of Stargate Pioneer. So welcome to the show, and we cannot wait to hear the stories that you're going to tell.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited.
And by the way, just so that you do get the full experience, for those of you who are checking out the video side of things, you will indeed see that Sandrock has his very own title card, which his title is Lawn Art Consultant. Lawn Art Consultant.
If you need something scripted into your lawn with a lawnmower, Sandrock is your guy. He's got great penmanship with the mower, and he seems to not need spell check, which is important when you're actually mowing grass.
I was kind of surprised.
Okay, so here's the thing with this. If you follow Stargate Pioneer on Instagram or Facebook or anywhere, last week he posted, it was like late last week, he posted a picture of his yard, and it had in his grass, mowed into it, in beautiful penmanship, mind you, the name Stargate Pioneer. And apparently, Sandrock, what inspired you to do this? You were the one that was behind this, right?
I was, yeah. Honestly, I was feeling kind of lazy, and I put my creativeness to work in my dad's backyard.
Well done. And I will say that I have heard this story talked about on more than one podcast, one of which SP has nothing to do with.
Absolutely nothing to do with. Which podcasts are we talking about?
It was Ask the Podcast Coach when they gave a shout out on that one. That was pretty funny.
It's made the rounds in the podsphere.
Yeah, so great job and kudos to you on that. Now, I haven't, if that wasn't enough exciting news, I have a second exciting piece of news that I want to share with everybody. And it's the fact that today we are streaming on Diamond Club. That's right, diamondclub.tv. You can find us. We now stream to there. We are happy to be a part of that. Excited for that. And thank you very much to Sergeant Muffin, who did indeed set that all up. Dan, thank you so much. And we're, as far as we can see, we'll be doing it every week. And if you go to geeks.live, our usual landing page, you'll see that you can actually watch both. You can watch it via Diamond Club or by YouTube, depending on which method works best for you, or Spreaker or wherever. But the thing is, Diamond Club is actually a little bit less delayed. I think what did you figure out? Like it's a 5-second delay, Chris?
It's about a 4 or 5 second delay. So we've been very lucky in that regard that we can interact with you guys much quicker now, instead of trying to pretend like we saw what you said when it was 30 seconds before we said something. I don't know. You guys do the math. I made my brain hurt.
So yeah, you can absolutely check that out. And as well, if YouTube is better, because some people, mobile device, cross-platform, things like that, YouTube is still streaming, and we will continue to do that because we are allowed to do that because we don't advertise here.
We advertise ourselves, and shamelessly sometimes.
Which brings me perfectly to our first point of the night, which is that we are indeed part of the Gonna Geek Network. And also on the Gonna Geek Network is a wonderful show called All Things Good and Nerdy. It is a great way to get your Sunday silliness on first thing in the morning. And in episode 222... as has become a recent tradition, the ATGN crew opens up the show talking about their recent experiences with Pokemon Go. So please check that out in episode 222 of All Things Good and Nerdy, titled Everyone's Trailer. Nope, everyone's taller than Naki. Why not?
I was wondering where you were going with that. I was like, I don't think there was a trailer reference.
All right,
Naki lives in a trailer now.
Sorry, Naki. Let's go ahead and move into our news. Here we go. All right, so for our news this week, we'll go ahead and I guess I'll start off because, you know, I listed it that way in the sidebar. You can go to the moon now with a catch. And that catch is that you must be dead. Because there is indeed a new...
That's a hell of a catch, Stephen.
What?
Okay, work with me on this. So the thing about the moon that I want to share with you today is that there is a company called MoonX. Now, here's the thing about MoonX.
It's where you moon your exes.
Oh God, SP, did you really just do that?
I did.
You know the best part of this right now, this setup?
What's that?
Sandrock, can you slap him for me? Okay, so no, here's the thing. So this company called MoonX is a private company, and they have announced that they have plans to go to the moon. And it's really exciting because they have indeed been granted permission as well to mine the moon resources. Now, they're going to be doing some other usual and some unusual private sort of stuff, such as they have announced that they will indeed spread your ashes on the moon for a price. Now, it is quite pricey at this time, but that's your catch. There's how you're going to end up on the moon. Chris, are you going to take them up on this offer?
How much does it cost me to go to the moon then?
Well, at this point, it is a lot of money. A lot of money.
So no, because I don't have that kind of money because I keep buying podcasting gear.
It costs you your life. Your life.
That's
you have
like
to be
32
dead.
cents. You can barely mail a letter with my life.
But yeah, no, I think that this is actually really cool because, you know, for me, for a long time, I've been a big advocate of going back to the moon and thinking like there's a lot of stuff that we can still check out there and stuff from a privatization of lunar exploration. So I'm really excited about this, and I cannot wait to see what happens with this company. For all we know, they'll just fizzle out, but I think that it's a really exciting thing, and I know that I'm making a joke about the ashes thing, and I know right now it is really expensive, but like anything, once you start to get the demand there, the prices will start to drop down, and I think that it will be very interesting to see what happens as more people do get on board with this MoonX company.
If this continues on and leads to honest to goodness asteroid mining, Sandrock and I were talking about this just a couple hours ago. I am all for it because, as you know, I'm all for asteroid mining. So, we'll just see where it goes. There's going to be a lot of gimmicks with space because nobody knows how to monetize it right now.
It's like Twitter, you're saying?
Twitter, Blab, any of those.
Well, Blab, it's a little too late to monetize now. Rest in peace, Blab.
All right, Sandrock, what's your thoughts on this? You going to send dear old dad to space?
If he wants to, yeah, I guess. I don't know. I don't really like to plan about my death, but if you had to plan about it, I think this would be the way to go.
Come on, we've talked about this. I want to be sent off to space like Spock in Star Trek 2, with the bagpipes playing and everything and through the torpedo. That's the way it's supposed to be done.
Okay.
We've talked about this.
Okay, well, then we have to take a picture of you with the...
Well,
what is it?
First, you're going to have to build the Enterprise, and then you can go from there.
Well, which Enterprise are we building? The A, the B, the C, the D, the E, or just straight up 1701?
This is the straight up remodeled 1701.
Okay, cool.
The Constitution refit, then.
All
Okay.
right. We could do that. By the way, while we're talking Star Trek, I did finally see Star Trek Beyond last night, and a very good film. I have told these two that I personally went into it a little misguided. I knew a lot of people who trashed on 1 and 2 for quote unquote not being Star Trek, and then they loved Beyond. So I kind of went into it thinking it was going to have that usual Star Trek vibe, and it didn't. It was, in my opinion, the furthest of the 3 to have the Star Trek vibe, but I liked it. I thought it was good. There were some things I would change, but overall, really enjoyable film. So good job, Justin Lin. Good job.
It was good. It was just as good as Insurrection. So if you like Insurrection, you're going to like this one.
All right, so let's move on to our second news point here, which is going to go to Stargate Pioneer to talk about his birthday curiosity. What? Okay, that's weird.
Everybody's curious about their birthday. Well, last week, remember, we talked about Mars 2020, the rover that we're going to send in 2020 that's going to be based on Curiosity. You guys remember that?
No.
I do, sir.
I don't.
See, I know somebody that actually pays attention. I'll bet you don't even pay attention when you edit the podcast, do you, Steve?
Edit?
No,
my name's Steven. Pleased to meet you. What's your name?
Yeah, right. 51st States all over again, right? So now we'll go back to Curiosity, which has been on the Red Planet for 4 years. Yes, it landed on August 5th, 2012. Thus, August 5th is its quote-unquote birthday. At least that's what the scientists are saying. So we'll just go with it. Anyway, Curiosity has a soil sampling science package on it called SAM, which stands for Sample Analysis at Mars. It's the most intense astronomical sort of soil sampling package that we have in the universe today. Mostly just in the solar system. But anyway, it's the most advanced. And what it does in order to assist the soil samples down through the instrumentation, what it does is it vibrates at a certain frequency. And those frequencies are heard in the atmosphere of Mars as sound waves. So they use this science package every August 5th so Curiosity can play its own birthday song. Happy birthday. It plays happy birthday to itself August 5th every year. That's pretty
nice.
Cool.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Well played, NASA.
Yeah. If you go to the thing, you'll hear it. It's like the tone of, the digital computers, the 8-bit, it does that. And I'd sing it now, but we're, in the process of not knowing where we're going to get sued or not for singing happy birthday. So
don't do it. Plus, there's the fact it would require you to sing. And I can tell you I'm not very keen on anyone on this show singing.
But see, that's the thing is if we do want to do it, we just have to make it up like some form of, it's your birthday,
Steven,
birthday.
I've heard you sing on many of my podcasts before. And no.
Thank you. On All Things Good Nerdy, I was your news intro for a long time, wasn't I?
That was so I could troll people.
It was pretty incredible.
And as a quick hit, I just want to say that Sierra Nevada Corporation unveiled its Dream Chaser replacement shuttle today, and it will go off to the Western Test Ranges to do a little bit of flight testing. And we're on our way to have a smaller shuttle-like thing back in action. So that is awesome. So we'll keep tabs of the actual flight tests, and we'll let you know what happens with that. So that's pretty cool too. And I just want to say thank you very much for Michelle. She sent me a really cool NASA camera. It's high-speed camera, and it's also it uses a compilation of multiple stills to get really detailed pictures of rocket test thrust. And you see these rockets go up, and you see the massive power, and you see the big plume underneath it. Well, this is just fantastic. It's like the videos that you see of the sun nowadays, where they're seeing the sunspots and everything. It's something like that. It is awesome. So go check that one out if you haven't. So a lot of stuff happens this past week in space, but because we like curiosity, because we like singing happy birthday, even though we cannot do it on the podcast, that is what I chose for my main news story this week.
Well, that's awesome. And in the chat, by the way, and if you are checking us out today on Diamond Club, just so you know, we do usually chat at geeks.live. We have Suncast saying it's cool and sad at the same time, like Wall-E sad.
Wall-E.
Yeah. All right, so Sandrock, are you all into this sort of stuff as well? Or is that something that you just do the head shake? Yes, Dad. Okay. Yes, Dad.
I haven't been keeping tabs on it, but I read some of the articles my dad told me to read, and it's really cool. I didn't think we were this far in the space exploration. Like, what was it? The Martian? That was a really cool movie, but I was like, oh, we're not that close to it. But after reading, what was it?
The Red Dragon.
Yeah, the Red Dragon, and after seeing the new Sierra Nevada prototype of the spaceship, it's really cool, and it shows that we're not too far off. We still have ways to go, but I definitely have to keep tabs on it.
So you're slowly getting him interested. Good job, SP. It's like me with Grayson, my son, and podcasting. It's just like I'm just dragging him in slowly, just dragging him in.
When's his podcast come out?
Yeah. And as soon as you can get him to edit, let us know. We'll gladly pay him.
He's going.
Suncast has a box of lollipops he'll use as payment. You just have to.
That's funny. All right. So, what did you have though for your news? I know you had a very interesting piece of news points, Sandrock, that actually Chris wanted to use. So, double kudos to you for stealing that from Chris.
Taking my news.
Yeah, and the news is ABC is in talks with Lucasfilms to have a Star Wars TV series. And, I think that's really cool with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and all the CW, DC universes. I think it's really cool. The only problem with it is they tried to do this before, and it's hard to put that much money into a Star Wars universe TV show because nobody wants to see, poor end of Star Wars, so you have to put a lot of money into it. And if I think they could do it, it'd be really cool. And then I think another possibility would be for HBO to come out with a Star Wars series, but I don't know if that would happen. But yeah, I think if ABC could pull off a Star Wars series, it would be really cool, and it would get the younger generation into it, because they obviously weren't around for the original trilogy, and they weren't around for, what was it, the early 2000s Star Wars?
Yeah, so what Suncast is, what Sandrock is referring to, sorry, Suncast.
Suncast, he just thinks of you as his child, okay? So there you go.
Suncast is everybody's child, let me tell you. But what Sandrock is referring to is he was saying, Star Wars might have been your golden age when you were a kid, but when I was a kid, it was Harry Potter. It wasn't the Star Wars thing, especially because the prequels suck so much. And so his generation looks as Harry Potter as their magical, pun intended, magical series that they grew up with. And that kids in their early 20s can look at Star Wars, these new movies, Rogue One, The Force Awakens, and any series that comes out like the Star Wars Rebels, is it? I believe on the Disney Channel, right?
Yeah.
Star Wars Rebels, and in this live action, and I equated the live action to Stargate because he's like, how can you make the Earth look like a different planet? I'm like, well, they did it in Stargate. They can
you
keep on
shoot
doing
in Vancouver and you're done.
No, but then
That's
you look
it.
like every single other movie ever, not just Stargate.
It's true.
Well, yeah, but this is a possibility. It could happen if they wanted to. And I guess the thing here is that they want to do a live action. And Chris, please jump in because you know a heck of a lot more about this than I do. But if you take the action part of it in, you don't want to ruin the big Star Wars universe, because the movies really do have a lot of great action in them, and you just can't keep up those action shots with special effects every week on a TV budget. As we've seen with shows like Arrow and Flash, they have downtimes. It's not all action all the time. So, and Battlestar Galactica was the same way too. It was one of the main space operas of the new era, and it even had downtimes. So, as long as they can keep going and do it right, let's do it. If they can't do it right, then let's just leave it alone and wait until they can. Right, Sandrock?
Yeah. Yeah, I really want to see a good Star Wars TV series if they end up doing one.
So how much are you into Star Wars, by the way? Are you a avid Star Wars watcher? Do you regularly check out all of just the movies, or do you go into the, I guess we would call it the expanded universe-ish?
No, I haven't really got much into the expanded universe, and it's been a while since I've seen all the Star Wars movie. But when I was growing up, man, being a Jedi, that's what it was all about.
Damn Skippy.
Yeah, but I really like Star Wars. Star Trek was a big thing for my dad, and I think Star Wars was the closest thing that came to Star Trek for me. And if they could pull off a Star Wars TV series, I would be all for that. And I think that would be another way to introduce the public to the different backstories, and just there's so much more going on in the universe than Jedi battles and whatnot.
So I think they're trying to use Star Wars Rebels to do a lot of this setup work right now, and I think we'll probably start to see some of that payoff in Rogue One when Rogue One drops this December. And quick side note, new Rogue One trailer comes out Thursday during the Olympic coverage. But this is not the first time they've talked about the Star Wars TV series. Back before Disney acquired Lucasfilm, George Lucas, I want to say around 2006 or 2007, started floating the idea of wanting to do a Star Wars TV series. Supposedly he'd written a bunch of scripts and outlines, but he delayed because he did not feel the special effects on a TV level were ready for Star Wars. And the rumor was it was going to be a series called Star Wars Underworld that would revolve around the underworld of Coruscant, which is the capital planet, dealing with mercenaries and bounty hunters and the birth of the rebellion, sort of that way. And the rumor was the Star Wars 1313 video game that debuted, or was previewed rather, I want to say 5 or 6 years ago at E3, was going to tie into all of that. So Lucas had a lot of plans, and he'd even started talking casting, like trying to bring back Jimmy Smits to be Bail Organa. And with the acquisition of Star Wars by Disney, I think a lot of that went to the wayside. But I wouldn't be shocked to see something Star Wars come out. They just need to set it up to do, or rather to work the right way and figure out what era to set it in. Because that's going to be the question, is when do you set it? Because right now you have your pre-episode 4 stuff with Star Wars Rebels. Do you set it in between episode 6 and 7? I have no idea.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. And you mentioned about the effects thing, and I didn't even consider that. Thinking back to when I always hoped for a Star Wars series, and now it's not a concern. It's really not when you look at the type of things they do on TV these days. And I didn't even consider that. Didn't even consider that limitation.
If you want to make effects less of a problem, you do what they've been doing with Rebels, and it's a cartoon, so your effects are you animate it, and you don't have to have a special effects budget outside of animation. Do I think that's what they're going to do for a live action series? Probably not, if the plan is to put it primetime on ABC.
Well, look at all the effects we do on this show. It's crazy. It's like there's actually 4 people here right now. It's mind-blowing.
I was expecting Pokemon to show up behind me or something.
Hats, like the hats,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, fancy hats.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you very much for that. And let's move on to our last news point, which goes to Chris to talk about how The Walking Dead is walking into different territory.
Oh, I see what you did there. So, Walking Dead, let's talk season 6, and we'll talk real high level. They introduced the character of Negan, and if you're a comic reader, you are familiar with Negan and how Negan is a complete and total badass. That's really the best way to do it. His introduction, where he kills off a much-loved comic book character, is an incredibly powerful and brutal scene in the comics. And as you go to the end of season 6, it looks like they're going to recreate it, but we don't know who's going to die because they cut to the cliffhanger rather, as soon as Negan starts swinging his bat to kill someone off. Now, there was a lot of fan outcry. Fans were like, why aren't you showing us who you killed? You've spent an entire season building up Negan, and there's no payoff. You give us this huge cliffhanger. Well, they give you a huge cliffhanger because they know you're still going to watch. That being said, Robert Kirkman has been paying attention to the angst, I guess you could say. This is stirred up in the fan community. And he was talking about it recently. He said, look, I think as a creative person, I have to acknowledge that all responses are valid. So I definitely have to take note that there's a seemingly significant portion of the audience that wasn't happy with that direction. So in that respect, I think everyone on the Walking Dead creative team has taken note of it. And I don't know that I would expect a similar cliffhanger at the end of season 7. So ideally, we don't get a crazy cliffhanger at the end of season 7 where they tease that someone's going to die and fade to black. And I'm very happy to hear that, because I was one of those fans that was like, really? You spend an entire season building up this character, we don't even see him on screen, and you don't give us the payoff of him establishing himself as a badass? I had a little bit of heartburn with it. Not as much as a lot of other people on the internet are like, oh, I quit the show, this is dumb, because that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's completely ridiculous when people say something like that. And I myself have a bunch of arguments of why I think it actually worked really well, depending on the outcome of who they do kill off. But let's leave that alone. I'm actually cool with this. They did not do any major death on the mid-season finale of the past season, and I thought that was really good breaking away.
They did swerve you that someone died in the mid-season finale and then revealed it later on.
Yeah, but that's fine though. Like, no, actually that was before that. I think the mid-season had no hinting to it at all.
Perhaps you're correct.
I could be wrong, but I don't believe I am. But
now I'm thinking I might be wrong, so one of us is wrong. I'm just not sure who.
But no, I think it's pretty good. I definitely like them breaking that format a bit, because it is something that for the first few seasons of The Walking Dead, they very much followed the same big plot point devices or structure for the season. So I'm cool with this. Now, I know, SP, you are an avid watcher of The Walking Dead, aren't you?
Yeah, I used to be. I used to even guest on the Walking Dead podcast once or twice, but
what is this show you're talking about? I'm not familiar with it. Used to be a show
that you two gentlemen did, but
what?
I did leave the show at the end of season 5, and I do not intend on coming back. Just not my type of show when it comes down to it. I'm more of the apocalyptic, let's see how we live in society or rebuild a society or something like that. And that's not where the show's going. The show is just going to tear everything apart. Comics too. It's just going to tear everything apart at the end. And I need a little hope in my life. So not looking forward to that. Now, with all that said, it's very interesting to me watching and reading what's happening to the fan base right now, because you've got your fervent fans that are there. But like you said, depending on who they kill, depending on how this all goes off, I think they might lose a percentage of their fan base. So we'll see what happens to the ratings as season 7 goes on.
Now, how about you, Sandrock? Do you watch it? You watch Walking Dead?
I watched the first 2 seasons and then I called it quits. It wasn't my type of show, kind of like my dad. He hung in there a little bit more, but yeah, I just didn't fall in love with it, and I just never went back to try to get back on it. So it's not my type of show.
And see, there's nothing wrong with saying that. There's some people out there like, oh my God, you don't watch that, you're terrible. If it's not your cup of tea, don't watch it. I don't want to be one of those people that's like pushing it on someone, like, you guys have to watch. If you don't like it, don't. It's fine.
I literally have watched the first 2 episodes of Game of Thrones, and I kid you not, I enjoyed it. I had nothing bad to say about the first 2 episodes, but it just didn't keep me. I didn't go past it. And I get flack all the time. Oh, you gotta watch it. How can you not watch it? How could you only watch 2 episodes? Like, whatever.
I'm right there with you. I've seen 0 episodes of it, and I've been tempted a few times. Like, maybe I should watch it. But inevitably, someone at work comes up to me and goes, "Oh, you got to watch Game of Thrones. It's the best thing ever." And I'm like, ugh. And I just kind of kick my heels in, and I'm like, no, I'm not watching it. I hate being told, you've got to watch this, because eventually I just get tired. I'm like, no, I don't have to watch it. I'm tired.
Made it through this season's The Battle of the Bastards. That's an episode title. And that's it. After that, I was good. I'm like, okay, it could only get bad from here. So I'm not interested in going further in it. And I had quit the show at a season previous to that, and I came back into it for that one episode because everybody said it was such a great episode. I watched that episode. I'm glad I did, because that is now my series finale. I will not watch anything more. But I got to tell you guys, since you haven't seen it, the dragons, they're cool. Dragons are awesome.
By the way, if you are, though, into Game of Thrones, I should mention that we are part of the Gonna Geek Network, and also on the Gonna Geek Network is a show called Tyrion's Landing, which is the Game of Thrones podcast of the network, so you should check them out at GonnaGeekNetwork.com. One last comment that I have on The Walking Dead here is I'm actually excited to get it back, but I'm actually less excited now to see, or even interested to see, who died than I was at the cliffhanger. Now, I don't know, is that a normal? It's been so long since I've had such a potentially monumental cliffhanger that I don't know. Is it normal?
I was going to say, I think that's the problem with this cliffhanger, is that there's so much delay in it. You kind of lose some of that excitement of, oh my God, what's going to happen? Because now we've been waiting for what, 3 months, 4 months already?
Yeah. I guess, like, for me, I had lots of good things to say about it, and usually I'm a sucker for cliffhangers. I'm okay with them, but they're usually semi-predictable, and this is one that somebody is dead, right? You always get the fake outs on the CW. They're always cliffhanging there. Oh my God, the Flash is dead. No, pretty sure the Flash is not dead, so... Yeah.
He'll just go back in time and undo it all. It's okay.
Which Flash?
Exactly.
Got to ask that. Okay, so let me ask you this. You're not excited for it to coming back. Have you been excited for Fear the Walking Dead? Have you seen, I guess it's 2 seasons now, of Fear the Walking Dead?
I personally enjoy Fear the Walking Dead. I have no problem with it. I shouldn't say I have no problem with it. I don't have the level of problem with it that others do. The thing that I just think that sometimes is really hard with it is it's sort of, we've seen a lot of it now. Now that we're getting halfway through the second year, you got to think, Rick woke up from a coma. He wasn't in the coma that long. We're kind of starting to level up towards where season 1 of The Walking Dead started up. So that new earlier version of the zombie apocalypse that was the big appeal of Fear of the Walking Dead is now gone, because we are getting more towards where The Walking Dead started.
Look, I'll put it simply. Don't waste your time on Fear of the Walking Dead. It is not very good. It is boring. Supposedly it catches on near the end of season 1, but if I can't get into it in a few episodes, it's not worth your time.
And I cannot sit by anybody who makes a comment on a whole series when they've only watched their first few episodes. I understand your second half of that, where you're like, for me, I don't get on. It didn't keep me.
Steven,
but when you make a generalization on a whole series that you have not watched, I'm not cool sitting by and letting that go.
I don't have to watch the entire series to know I'm wasting my time. If I've got too much other crap I'm watching, if they can't hook me in 3 or 4 episodes, it's not worth my time.
Well, okay. So first of all, Steven, you can't say it wasn't what was promised, because we do in season 1, if people haven't seen it and they're curious about how this whole thing started, season 1 gives you a great depiction on how it started, at least in the LA area. Okay, so that is good, right? And I watched that, got to the end of season 1, said, nope, they're headed the same way the regular season is, or the regular show is. I'm out. So that's it. Second of all, Chris, let's go back to Star Trek: The Next Generation. That didn't get good until season 3.
Absolutely, and that's exactly.
I don't disagree. And TV's different nowadays, though. There's a lot more crap I watch on TV than back then. And honestly, you know what had me watching Star Trek? It wasn't so much I cared as much. It was my dad watched it, and I was spending time with my dad watching Next Gen. And eventually it got to the point where I was like, oh, I actually like this too, versus, oh, I'm spending time with my dad. So that's what got me into it.
Yeah, but I think, though, like, with Fear the Walking Dead myself, I did notice quite a bit of a change as they went on. And I'm sorry if I indicated that I thought that they weren't living up to what they were supposed to, because that's not the case. I think that they did give a good starting point. I'm just saying now, as we get later in season 2, you're starting to see some repetition from some of the ideas that happened in early Walking Dead. But I still disagree with people who say it's not worth watching. You know, we got to remember, this is on in the summer. This is technically summer TV. It is of a lower caliber. It's just because it's a spin-off of such a power horse. It is.
There's so much other good stuff on in the summer, though. Watch Mr. Robot, watch Suits, watch BattleBots. There's so much other good stuff you can watch. 12 Monkeys.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. There is still, the reality is that generally,
reality, Deadliest Catch. There you go. There's your reality show for the summer.
But summer TV often is not the same caliber. If you look at it as a whole,
not anymore.
No, there is no seasons anymore.
No, you
it's
guys
just
are wrong. You're wrong. There is not the powerhouse level of TV that you get from September to May in the summer. You're wrong. You know, yes, there are gems in there, but there is a lot more lower tier content in the summer than there is in the regular season, and it is something that's in the summer. With that said, I do think that it is a different group, and there is a lot of people who really do not treat it fairly, and because we saw in season 1, it was early on, there was barely any zombies, and when there were zombies, I hated the argument of people going, oh, why aren't you killing him? Because it was the guy that was serving you your ice cream yesterday. It's not your gut reaction to go kill the guy. So that's the type of thing that I think was unfair.
I don't remember any ice cream servers on Fear the Walking Dead season 1. Hey, you know what, Chris? Let's let him have this point, because we know we're going to take all the Olympic medals. Canada's not going to get any. So let's just give him this so he feels better for the next 2 weeks.
All right, fine. I will take it. If that's how I'm going to win, I will gladly take whatever win that I can get. As you know, us Canadians suck in Olympics, and Chris is biting his tongue, and kudos to you for that. All right, well, that is going to go ahead and wrap us up for the news, and let's just go ahead and move on to our highlight from the website. Here we go. Sometimes in life you reuse content, and that's what I'm going to do here today. That's
so it's like Fear the Walking Dead?
You said reuse con, and I got a little worried there at what you were going to say after the con.
That's right. Con! Not that type of con? No.
No, that's not what I was referring to.
I know. But no, today in the highlight from the website, I have something that you can find at geeks.link/shootout. This is a bit of a fun project that I did for all of you gear files. I don't know, audio. It's not an audio file, just gear connoisseurs, maybe. We'll go with that term. And if you have ever seen me do any video shows, you will see that behind me are 6 beautiful microphones. 6 microphones that I know that people do podcasts with. 6 microphones that I have personally tested out, trying to podcast with them. 2 of which I have not actually recorded an episode with, but they are all microphones that I know of podcasters that use them. Well, after about over a year of procrastinating, I have indeed decided to do a mic shootout. But here's the fun thing about it. It's a blind shootout. So I've got it posted to the site, and I go and I read the same 2 lines, 3 lines over and over on each microphone. And I have it so that it is covered and you do not see my face and you don't see which microphone it is. And I want to give everybody...
Thank God we don't see your face.
And yes, you don't see my face, but in about a month, unfortunately, I will reveal it and then you will see my face. And I want people to chime in on this. I want people, and it doesn't matter if you podcast or if you don't podcast. I want even the average Joe, the average listener, the average viewer's perspective on this. Which microphone do you like the best? And then if you are a big microphone connoisseur, you can absolutely fill out the rest of the survey if you want and guess which microphone is which. Or even if you just think, oh, I know exactly which microphone A is, then you can guess that. So I want people to chime in, give their feedback, and in about a month, I will reveal which is which. It was a lot of fun for me, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what people have to say about it. You can find the full video at geeks.link/shootout, but I do want to play you a bit of the first test on here, which you're going to see the way that it's set up is it actually loops twice. The first test, it's just essentially the more or less raw version of it. And then the second one, I essentially use a compression plugin, and I won't get into too much about what that is. If you have questions about what that is, email me, tweet me, whatever. Happy to get into that with you. And I want to just play that for you here. And then, yeah, go ahead, check out the rest of it at geeks.link/shootout. And what do you think? Chris, should I just play it? Should I just show my lovely fence?
Hit the button.
Okay.
Hit the button. Do it now.
And yes, you will see that I am blocked by a lovely 90s sitcom inspired fence. Here we go. My name is Stephen Jondrew, and this is microphone number 1. The microphone goes directly into the Zoom H6. This concludes the test of microphone number 1. My name is Stephen Jondrew, and this is microphone number 2. The microphone goes directly into the Zoom H6. This concludes the test of microphone number 2. My name is Stephen Jondrew, and this is microphone number 3. The microphone goes directly into the Zoom H6. This concludes the test of microphone number 3. My name is Stephen Jondrew, and this is microphone number 4. The microphone goes directly into the Zoom H6. This concludes the test of microphone number 4. My name is Stephen Jondrew, and this is microphone number 5. The microphone goes directly into the Zoom H6. This concludes the test of microphone number 5. My name is Stephen Jondrew, and this is microphone number 6. The microphone goes directly into the Zoom H6. This concludes the test of microphone number 6. My name is Stephen Jondrew, and this is microphone number 1. The microphone goes directly into the Zoom H6. This concludes the test of microphone number 1. My name is Stephen Jondrew, and this is microphone number 2. The microphone goes directly into the Zoom H6. This concludes the test of microphone number 2. My name is Stephen Jondrew, and this is microphone number 3. The microphone goes directly into the Zoom H6. This concludes the test of microphone number 3. My name is Stephen Jondrew, and this is microphone number 4. The microphone goes directly into the Zoom H6. This concludes the test of microphone number 4. My name is Stephen Jondrew, and this is microphone number 5. The microphone goes directly into the Zoom H6. This concludes the test of microphone number 5. My name is Stephen Jondrew, and this is microphone number 6. The microphone goes directly into the Zoom H6. This concludes the test of microphone number 6. So there you go. That is your sample. And something that, again, we would like you to chime in. And I do encourage you, if you are watching this live or even on YouTube, go to geeks.link/shootout because the live version, number 1, I know that the quality is a little degraded because of the nature of live streaming. But 2, even YouTube things are compressed a little bit. So 1, your thoughts. Maybe you do a podcast of your own and you want to give your feedback, or maybe you just listen to podcasts and shows. What do you think? Let me know. Give me your feedback. Very curious. And to me, when I've looked at the live stream, and I'll drop the curtain a little bit here, and we did do this as a Better Podcasting download this week when we did the live recording of Better Podcasting. And I have to say, on the live stream, you definitely could not hear much of a difference because there is some distortion. It's not balanced perfect, things like that. But when you do watch the actual version, whether it's the WAV version or the MP3 version, to me, I hear quite a difference. So interested to see what people have to say about this. And also, while you are over there, please do check out all of the other content on gonnageek.com. Now, Chris, what's your thoughts? I know I sent this to you in advance. Do you got any quick thoughts on it?
I think you're trying to trick me, and it's all one mic you're actually using. And it's just an attempt to screw with me.
Oh, I wish I had thought of that.
But that's because I'm not a believer. I believe people are always trying to get me. No, but in all seriousness, it's a really cool project you've put together there. I have absolutely no idea which is which. I need to go through and listen again and try and make some best guesses, but I'm pretty sure I'll be like 90% wrong.
Sandrock, I'm assuming that your dad has you perfectly trained to pick out all microphones because I know how much of a gear snob he is too.
Oh yes, I have a keen ear for that.
He prefers the term gear elitist, thank you. Not snob.
No, SP, I know that you briefly touched on your thoughts before, but what do you think about this? You got any quick notes here before I do move on?
Yeah, the quick note is that actually they're all very listenable microphones, and largely that's because they're all dynamic cardioid microphones, and they're all reasonably good. So if you've picked out any of these microphones, you should be good to at least start a podcast. Now, some are better than others. Obviously, if you listen to the full range of tones in there and the ability to ferret out what you naturally would sound like or what you'd want to sound like in a process situation, if you consider the GMAX terms as well. So definitely go. If you're a podcaster, if you use some sort of a vocal microphone in the $100 range or below, go to that test and let us know what you think. And if you are a so-called audio snob, if you know a thing or two about audio, we'd love to hear your thoughts as well, because we went into this wanting to understand which microphone you really want to recommend to somebody as they were starting their podcast or wanted to move up to a better microphone. Say they're using a chat headset or a condenser microphone or something like that. So it's all good, and I can't wait to hear what people have to say. We already have a couple of hits on it, and people trying to guess on which microphone's the best or what microphone's which, and that's great. And that survey, if you want to answer the questions, can be found at gonnageek.com.
Well, thank you very much for promoting that. It's much better for you to promote it than me promoting my own stuff. So thank you very much.
We all promote everybody. It's the Gonna Geek podcast. It's the Gonna Geek network. That's why we're networked, because we collaborate and promote each other.
Absolutely.
Is this the part where we hug?
We do.
Because I don't like that.
By the way, for the audio listener on the video side of things, SP did do the dad hug to Sandrock, and which, as Sandrock did do, he did try to pull away, but my understanding is he's buried in a corner right now and cannot go anywhere. So
when do we get the obligatory dad jokes then?
All right, well, that is taking us towards the end of the show, and before we do wrap up, we'll do our usual thing where we go around and plug everything. But first, I want to take a moment here to thank everybody who does check us out live. We've been getting, of course, an increase again now that summer weather is hit and miss. We're getting more people back in the chat room at geeks.live. I know some of you are checking us out on Diamond Club. That is usually where you can chat with us, is at geeks.live. And just thank you to everybody who comes by. I know that today we had quite a few different names. We had Wesley, Albert, Dane. I think there was another one earlier. Something. Oh, there's Suncast, of course. That's someone that rhymes with Mioneer of Marmates or something. I don't know.
We also had Sunny join us from Diamond Club and said welcome aboard, which was really nice. So thank you.
That was. But seriously, thank you to everybody who did come by. Sandrock, do you got anything you want to plug or promote or talk about before we do wrap up?
No, I don't have much. No, I don't have anything. Yeah.
Well, other than he's going off to college really soon, and this was just incredible to have the opportunity to podcast together. So just thank you very much, Sandrock, for joining us tonight.
No, thank you for having me. This has been a really fun time. Thank you.
It was really fun. Come back again sometime.
Yeah, it was great. You did a good job, and thank you very much. And now we know who to call on when Pops is away.
Yes, sounds good.
And I'm sure if you go in there and change all of his gear, he'll just love you.
Change all of the settings.
Yeah. No, not so much.
For the audio listener, I just want to also take a moment here and say that if you do miss the video side of things, you missed out on a couple of other titles that Sandrock did have tonight. He had at one point keeps Stargate Pioneer in line as his title, and he also had Stargate Pioneer's Caregiver. So both of which he did have. So those were his official titles tonight, in addition to, of course, Lawn Art Consultant, which I think it does take the cake. So
can I have the applesauce tonight? It's tonight applesauce night.
It's past your bedtime.
Chris, you got anything you want to promote?
I'll do what I typically say and go check out the Gonna Geek Network over at GonnaGeekNetwork.com. We've got tons of podcasts, all sorts of different geeky, awesome topics. Pretty much if there's something geeky you like, we probably have a podcast about it. And if we don't, and you do that podcast, please come join the network, GonnaGeek.com/join. We're always looking for new additions to our little family of insanity.
I like how you call it the family of insanity. It's nice.
Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong at all.
Totally insane.
SP, you got anything you want to promote?
Yeah, I got 3 quick things. First of all, if you are a writer, a blogger, and you're looking for a homepage for your blog to be on, contact Steven. We are looking for bloggers on the website. It's a volunteer position. It's not paid, so there's that. But we are in need, and we get a lot of hits, so you will get a lot of visibility to your articles. So that's great. That's number 1. Number 2, it might look a little bit clearer, which is kind of intuitive if you're a frequent watcher, viewer of the program, because I actually have 2 video streams going on right now. Well, that's because we actually upgraded the router in the Stargate Pioneer Studios. And let me just say that the router that your cable company gives you for your cable modem, yeah, not so good as what you can get from Best Buy. And if you're paying like $10 a month for a crappy modem from your cable provider, yeah, no, go buy your own and install it. You're going to save a lot of money in the end. And lastly, I have to say, if you want a dad joke, what did the one shepherd say to the other shepherd?
I got nothing.
Let's get the flock out of here.
See, I'm literally trying to ring my bell and it's not working. That's how bad of a joke it is. On the note of the cable modem, I do want to say we actually got a comment in the chat about you looking clearer tonight. So I think it is indeed working. And second thing is, I'm not saying this to just be the guy that disagrees tonight. Depending on your location, SP's feedback applies, because the cable modem that I have is relatively good. It's not too much different than the one that SP bought. Yes, SP's is better, so absolutely I could go get a better modem, but luckily my provider did not cheap out on the modem. So depends on where you're at.
The point is, if you're paying for a modem, don't go get your own modem and get at least a good enough one that they give you or better, and you're going to save money in the long run.
Absolutely.
Your cable company probably charges you $5 to $10 a month rental fee for a modem, which is great, I guess. If your modem fries, they'll replace it. But here's how you got to look at it: you can buy a decent cable modem for anywhere between $50 to $80, and that's less than a year's worth of rental fees. Yeah. So if it blows up in a year, just buy another one.
Exactly.
Who cares?
Yeah, and I'm fortunate because I don't get charged for it, but there are a lot of people who do, and I think it's solid advice. Thank you very much for mentioning that. I remember once I found out somebody, like it was my grandma, like 15 years ago, was still paying for a phone rental. It's like, grandma, they cost $30. Come on.
It was $15. My grandparents said the same thing. They were renting their 2 phones for $15 a piece.
Yeah.
$30 a month. Really, go buy your own. And they were the old rotary ones.
Yeah.
You know, the ones
those are antiques, man.
That's what they were paying for. Well, that is taking us to the end of episode 157 of the official GonnaGeek.com podcast. So for episode 157, I am sincerely thanking you, Sandrock, for coming on tonight.
Oh, thank you. The pleasure was all mine.
Hey, and I'm Stargate Pioneer, the wonderful father of the smart butt son, Sandrock.
And I'm saying good night, Diamond Club.
Bye, guys. Have a good night.
See you next time.
Bye!
From everyone here at the GonnaGeek.com podcast, thanks for listening. If you like what you heard, please give us a 5-star review on iTunes. We encourage you to send your feedback by email to podcast@GonnaGeek.com. You can find all of our show history at GonnaGeek.com/official podcast. And while you're there, why not head over and check out all of the geeky podcasts on the Gonna Geek Network. The music heard on this show is by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com. Thanks for listening, and we will see you again next week.